So now that you have your file open, the first thing that you are going to do is decide which one of these, so I have 3 kites and 1 set of hot air balloons, that you want to use to create your GIF. I think for me today, I'm going to use the hot air balloons. So what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to delete the other 3, keeping clouds, but deleting the images that I'm not using. I can do that by selecting the layer, clicking on the trash can. So now I have 2 layers, both my clouds and my hot air balloons. You're going to choose one of your selection tools. You have a couple of different options here, and select either the kite or the hot air balloon, depending on what you're working on. Again, I'm doing hot air balloons. I'm going to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. I have the magnifying glass in my toolbar over here, and I can just kind of draw. If I switch and hold the space bar, I can now move my canvas around so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Choose my selection tool. I'm going to choose Object Selection Tool here, and make sure you're on the correct layer and that layer is light gray and highlighted. So here it is. I'm in hot air balloons. I'm going to draw a box around my hot air balloon and let the computer do its magic. There. I know it's selected because it has these marching ants around it. I'm going to switch back to my Move tool. I can hit the letter V on my keyboard, or I can go to the icon on the toolbar itself. I'm going to modify this selection because I want to keep the hot air balloon, but I don't want the rest of the stuff in this image. So I'm going to go up to Select, up here in the top menu with your Photoshop, and I'm going to select the inverse, or the opposite. It's a little hard to see right now, but if you scroll up and see the edge, you can see it's everything else except the hot air balloon is selected. I'm just going to hit Delete. Control D to deselect. And if I double click on my hand here in my toolbar, I will go back to seeing everything so it fits on my screen. The next step that I want to do is I want to copy my hot air balloon so that I have multiples, because each hot air balloon, each location in space, I'm going to need an individual balloon for it. So I'm going to go over here to my layer, and if I click and hold it and drag it down to the little box with the plus sign and then let go, you'll see it makes a copy. And I'm going to do that 4 times. Then I'm going to go make sure and I edit my layer names so I know which hot air balloon I'm working with. And this will be important later when we go to animate our GIF. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so I want my hot air balloon 1 to be towards the bottom, my hot air balloon 2 to be sort of in the middle. 3, you can decide how you want your balloons to float. And I'm going to have it go there. If you are unable to click on your items, make sure that you are up here when you're in your Move tool, that you have Auto Select. It shows layers and it shows transform controls. That's how you see those bounding boxes. Next up, we're going to add in some text. To do that, I go over to my toolbar to the letter T. This is my type tool. Choose horizontal type. When you click, you're going to get gibberish. We call this Greek in design terms. It'll be highlighted and you can just type over it. So I'm going to go with up, up, and away. I've typed the word up. I'm going to go back to move, then back to my type tool. And I'm going to do it again. Go back to move, back to my type tool. I want each of these to be on their own individual layer, which is why I'm exiting out of the tool and then going back into it as I'm typing. And you'll see in my layers palette, let me pop this out. I have the text up, up, and away, which is really handy because it tells me what my layers say. And if I happen to have a typo, it's a little bit easier to see. I can move these around the same way I can move any other item. But what's also really handy is I can edit them as a group. To do that, I'm going to click in my layers palette. So I've clicked on my first up, I'm going to hold shift, click on my second one, my ampersand, that's the and symbol, and then away. Move my layers again. In your menus on the right side, you should have an A with a line. When you click on this, it will open your character window. If you don't have that showing, if that's not there, what you can do is you can go up to the word window and choose character, and that will pop it open. Currently, my font is Myriad Pro. I don't want to use that one. I want to find something else. I have personally a lot of fonts. I'm going to choose something with kind of a handwriting vibe. Not that. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking that says away and up, up. But you'll see when we go to animate it how it will say up, up, and away, and the text will also move up along with the hot air balloons. I don't really personally like this blue on top of the blue clouds, so I'm going to go back to my character window where it says color, double click, go to my color picker, and pick a color. Actually, I like that one. I can also, if I want to, if I hover over the picture itself, I get this crosshairs, and I can click on an item within it that gives me the actual color in the image itself. So then I know it matches really well. To keep myself organized, I'm going to drag my layers palette out again so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to put each word with each item. So in this case, I have hot air balloon 1. I'm going to choose this first up. Then I have hot air balloon 2 and my second up. Those ones are great. Hot air balloon 3 and my ampersand. And then hot air balloon 4 and away. Now this is so when I go to animate it by frames, things are together. I know what to turn on and off. I'm going to turn off, I want you to stay on, all of my layers except for my first balloon and my first up. And I want to make sure I like the way they are aligned in my image. Not what I wanted. I mean, remember when you transform something, you go ahead and hit enter. Let me check out my second balloon. All right, I'm kind of feeling that. Hit enter because I've transformed it. My third balloon and my ampersand, these are obviously not aligning anymore. And I actually don't like that font for that ampersand, so I'm going to change it. And I can do that because it's an independent. Well, we'll just stick with it. I don't have time to dig through them all. There we go. Control Z, by the way, to undo items. I like how away is cut off there. You don't have to do it that way, but you can. And now for the part you've all been waiting for, turning it into a GIF. This is actually incredibly easy and a lot of fun. What you're going to do first is you're going to open what's called your timeline. So I go up to Window and choose Timeline. From here, I'm going to click on Create Frame Animation. Then I'm going to look all the way over here and I see these little stacks of lines. When I click on that, I get a menu and I'm going to make frames from layers. And you'll notice I now have 9 frames down here on my panel. And when I click on each frame, there's only one item in it. If I were to make this right now, it'd be kind of wackadoodle. It's not what I want. In my first frame, I'm going to leave it just as clouds. So if I look at my layers palette, you'll see the only layer that is visible is clouds. For my second frame, I want the clouds visible, my first hot air balloon, and the word up. For my third frame, I would like my clouds visible, my second hot air balloon, and my second up. I think you see where this is going. For my third, I would like my clouds visible, my third hot air balloon, my ampersand. I guess this is technically my fourth. And then for my fifth frame, and I'm using these numbers now, apologize about that. I'm going to have my clouds visible, my fourth hot air balloon, and my word away. Now I have some extra frames in here. I'm just going to delete them. I can either select it and hit delete on my keyboard. Nope. Select it and click on the trash can. Yes, I want to delete the frame. And delete. Now, when I click my play button, current loop is on forever. You can see it goes up, up, and away. And that's why my words were in the opposite order there. I want to show hierarchy, which is a design principle. Now it goes a little too fast. So I can come over here and you'll see underneath each frame, it says 0 seconds. I'm going to change that to 0.1 for each of them. And click play. So I think it would be cool here to put in an additional frame with my clouds, making sure I've clicked on my last frame in my timeline, which in this case is 5. Choose the plus button right here. It's really tiny at the bottom. And it's added in, it's essentially duplicated the previous frame because that's what's visible right now. And if I turn off those 2 layers that are visible, I'll have just clouds. And I'm going to make this frame slightly longer so it holds a little longer. And click on play. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. From here, we're going to save and export it.